So, brothers and sisters, today we are celebrating the Transfiguration, and I personally believe that the gospel of today, or this feast in itself, has some connections to the gospel of yesterday. In the gospel of yesterday, we saw Peter professing his faith, but at the same time, Peter allowing himself to be, let's say, possessed, if you want, by the Spirit that leads him to have a certain scandal towards the cross. And why am I saying that? Well, because here we see already Peter who wants to settle down. So the Transfiguration comes just before the Passion. It's almost as if Christ wanted to give them this foretaste of the resurrection. That's why it's good, is what Peter says. Lord, it is good for us to be here. It feels good, right? So there's no suffering, there's no challenge. Everything is beautiful here. But Peter, once again, he doesn't understand. So he wants to be there. He wants to settle down. It's a life without suffering, a life without passion. This same Peter that had been exorcised by Christ in the day before, right? So Peter wants to settle down. Let us make 3 tents here for each one of us so we can stay here. And yet the evangelist says that Peter didn't know what he was saying. So this gospel is beautiful because the Transfiguration is this foretaste of what the Lord wants to give to you and to me through the reality of the cross. It is true that that's the resurrection, but we cannot enter into the resurrection without the cross. That's why the cross is only a means, if you want, or it's a key that opens the Transfiguration for us. That's why every Christian is the one that transfigures himself once he enters into the cross. That's why this mount, if you want, the fathers of the church, they speak of this mount because remember that Christ here, he is transfiguring himself on the mount, and this mount is the cross. It means that's what the fathers of the church say, and it's beautiful that whenever you and I, we have this grace to enter into our cross, this mount that is our cross, that is our daily sufferings, whatever the Lord is allowing for you and for me, boom, we experience the Transfiguration. Because the Transfiguration, as I said, is this foretaste that Christ, he wanted those specific 3 disciples to experience before the Passion. And the final part of this gospel, which is this voice that comes, it says, listen, this is my beloved son, listen to him. And again, where is the place where we listen to God? It is in our crosses, it is in our sufferings. That's why a Christian is not the one who doesn't have sufferings. That's why a Christian is not the one who doesn't have struggles or anything like that. I usually tell my parishioners, right? Be careful with this mentality of coming to church so that Christ may take your sufferings, your struggles away, your challenges away. No, that's not what a Christian is all about. So we, with the grace of God, we are those who can enter, who can face their sufferings. But not only that, but to find the Transfiguration in the midst of all those sufferings. And that's what the Lord wants to give to us. Whatever suffering you may be going through today, because as I said yesterday in the homily, all of us, we have our sufferings, brothers and sisters, all of us. It can be in our marriage, it can be with our kids, it can be in our relationship with other people, the fact that perhaps I can forgive today, or my children who don't act the way I want, or in my parish that I am in a state here now in the parish that everything is breaking down, right? Because the house is very old and it's like every week there is something new to do. Small crosses like that, to huge crosses like a cancer or the loss of someone, or I don't know, or perhaps that your husband or your wife leaves you, or your children who are maybe in drugs now, or the crosses that the Lord is allowing us to have today. And this is the mystery that a Christian can have, that you can enter, you and I, we can enter into whatever makes us suffer today, whatever crucifies us, and there you can transfigure. That's really a mystery of Christianity. Even psychologists nowadays who are more conscious, let's say, they are discovering more and more that what really transcends people, especially those who may believe to a certain spirituality, let's say, or a world of morality, if you want. What transcends man is man entering into his reality that is suffering. So we live in a society that is it's a society of escapism, I say, right? We always escaping all the gadgets we have now. Everything is it's almost as if it's designed in a way for us to escape our reality, right? In many other things. So today we experience the resurrection with the Lord, right? This transfiguration. It is good for us, Lord, to be here. It is good. It is good in fact. But before entering into that, we need the cross. That's why the cross is this ladder, if you want, that brings us to heaven, without which we cannot enter there. That's why right after the transfiguration, the passion starts. So Christ was already preparing his disciples. It's almost like giving like little caramels, right? Candies to his disciples before going to the real thing, that is the cross. And this is the feast that we celebrate today in the church, which is the resurrection of the Lord that comes by entering into whatever today makes us suffer. And by entering there, we transcend, we transfigure with him. And it is there where we can hear his voice. And even me in my life, when I look at my life, the moments that I really listened God the most was in my sufferings. It was really my sufferings. That's why many people, when they don't have any sufferings, when everything is fine, they leave the church, right? That's why it is there on this mountain where we can truly listen to the voice of the Lord, that is in our sufferings, in our daily crosses. And there we find him resurrected. May God bless you all.